Hey guys, it's Vinny.
And this is Joe.
We want to talk to you about something we saw that's really interesting, and it's factual. It happened, and a lot of people are missing it. This deals with the Pride Troopers, Universe 11, during Super Episode 101. And we noticed, and we know you guys saw it too, when Toppo and Jiren sort of allowed the rest of the Pride Troopers to take on and fight the likes of Goku, the androids, Caulifla, and Kale. And Toppo made this sort of interesting statement where he said, hey, let's just go back. We'll save up our stamina. We'll save up for the later fighting. And essentially by doing this and not keeping an eye on their team members, they basically abandoned them and essentially even allowed them to be ultimately eliminated, because you have to consider here that Toppo and Jiren are strong enough to keep their eyes on their team members. I mean, Jiren was standing in the middle of the platform earlier on in an earlier episode, and nobody would even come at him. I have a feeling that Jiren could be in the middle of everything and no one would try to touch him for fear of elimination, which really gives Jiren free reign of watching his team members to make sure that none of them will get eliminated by using his superior power to stop that from happening. But what happened here is that Jiren and Toppo went off to some no man's land on their own and essentially probably just sat down, stopped watching their team members fighting, and minutes later, 5 members eliminated.
Yeah, and this brings up a lot of different thoughts for me. Like, why did they need to save stamina? Were they really fighting that much? We didn't really get to see that. Maybe Toppo a little bit, so maybe he needed to. And then also, it brings me back to almost Hit. Hit was keeping an eye on his people, and he saved Caulifla. We saw that, and I just don't understand how these two are not doing the same for their team, because, I mean, they're really, based off of what we're seeing, the two strongest and the guys that should be protecting the rest of the team members, because as we just saw in the last episode, they're maybe not as strong as them. They can do stuff, but they're just not on that level. So it is strange to me that they decided to go off and do this whole stamina thing. I feel like it was a plan maybe that they did have maybe from the start, because you said maybe this wasn't the best time to keep up stamina and sit back.
I mean, ultimately, they're probably underestimating the power of the other universes. They really have this superiority complex, the Pride Troopers do. They're very well organized. They're a good team. They work together, but they believe they're superior to everyone else, and that's their ultimate downfall. Goku, that's not Goku's downfall. Goku doesn't think he's superior to everyone else. He's just not always on the top of his game. He kind of lets his guard down. But the Pride Troopers, their downfall is they think they're superior to everyone else, and so this kind of is their downfall. But to paint the picture for you guys, what would you feel if all of a sudden 5 members of Team Universe 7 were eliminated within like a minute of each other and Goku never showed up? Or another powerful fighter on Team Universe 7 like Vegeta never showed up, or Gohan maybe never showed up. It was just like 5 lesser members were eliminated and not one other stronger team member was watching or around or there to help. That is essentially what Jiren and Toppo did to their team. They basically left them, stopped watching them, didn't keep an eye on them like Hit did on his team. And they could have. There's no reason they couldn't have. Nobody's coming up against Toppo and Jiren except for Goku. Goku's really the only foolish person out there who wants to keep fighting Jiren. So they're not really battling anyone at this time. There's no indication that they are. And so they could just sit there and watch, and they decided not to, and 5 members gone. Yeah. I mean, that says something about Jiren and Toppo.
Yeah, and also, I mean, they do seem to have like some type of communication with each other based off that last episode. So it's also like, are they not listening into the communication where they just told them this guy got eliminated? If I heard that over my walkie, I'm like, okay, something bad is going on over there. Maybe I should look at it. It just makes me wonder the consistency with that as well.
We saw that too, that Jiren had like this ability to sense like attacks or things that were going to happen before they happened. You remember when the platform was like flying towards Jiren and Goku like dodged it, but Jiren just sat there? It's almost like he could sense things. I mean, couldn't Jiren maybe sense that something was going wrong or something bad was happening? I mean, couldn't he get an indication when like there was like these explosions that were going on that he probably didn't think should have been going on? We wouldn't be harping on it as much if it was only one team member in Universe 11 or
Yeah.
two or maybe three, but half, like five people, that's just a unbelievable amount of people to go down and be eliminated and not to have Toppo or Jiren show up.
Yeah, and also one other thing we do know about Jiren a little bit too is he does care about his team members a little bit here because he was sticking with them when the whole thing with Kale came up. He stepped up for them. So it's not like he's totally heartless to his like people because we might not have known Jiren like, oh, he could be totally heartless. He doesn't care about them at all. He just does whatever he wants. But it does seem like he is there and he cares about them. He told Goku to get away because he doesn't want him to be there with his members. So it's not like he's heartless to them, though.
Yeah, I don't think he's heartless. There's something else, though. It's something a little different. It's like he's like indifferent or something. Like it's just he's there. He'll help out. He does care, but I don't know. Again, I think the weakness of Jiren and the Pride Troopers is a superiority complex. They believe they're more superior. Jiren believes he's more superior, and they all have this same complex. And that might be their ultimate undoing. That this is their issue,
It's already started.
It is kind of. It's already started. It's already unraveling, and that's really the strength of Saiyans is that they're always underestimated. Like, oh, you're just a Saiyan. You're just a monkey. You're just this. They're underestimated. And then what happens? They rise to the next level. They transform to the next stage. They become as powerful and then supersede you in power, all because of being underestimated. And I think Jiren is going to fall right into that same category of underestimating Saiyans, underestimating Goku, and having the superiority complex. And we saw it happen on this last episode when they let him and Toppo pretty much, just left their five members and just they went down and they didn't, have an eye on them or anything like that. So we kind of thought this was an interesting insight. We wanted to share it with you guys. We hope you enjoyed it. We want you, please leave comments below. Did you see this? What do you think about it? Do you think maybe there's more to this? There's more about Jiren's character and Toppo's character based off of what just happened here? Do you think it's, we're just looking into it too much? But 5 members, that's a lot, so please leave a comment below. We love reading them. Continue, tell people about the channel. Tell people to subscribe. We want to keep sharing these insights that we have with you guys. We like the conversation. We hope you enjoyed this one. This is Vinny.
And this is Joe.
Until next time.